There's been rumors on social media, a lot of rumors on social media that Chiefs fans apparently want Arthur Zwane back. Arthur Zwane, of course, took over from Kaizer Chiefs last season. He was in for 30 games as the head coach and had a record of 13 wins, 5 draws, and 12 losses. And altogether, if we take into account his stints as the coach that comes in when things are going wrong, he's got a record of 16 wins, 7 draws, and 14 losses. Look, I think hiring Arthur Zwane was a move by the team to try bring a legend to the forefront and maybe stop the fans from being a little bit angry with what has happened over the past 8, 9 or so years, right? And he came into a very hot pot. He came in without experience. He came in with a lot of pressure mounting on him and had to learn some things. One of the things that he had to learn was how to deal with the media. I was out here talking a lot in the media and saying a lot of things that rubbed players, that rubbed media the wrong way, and he was very combative in the way that he had approached his talking to the media. But of course, on the pitch, it was up and down. It was up and down. There were really good moments. There were bad moments. But I think there wasn't too many complaints about him. Now, on to this particular part of the story where we speak about Chiefs fans potentially wanting him to come back. Let's start with the pros and the cons. The pros is that obviously he's been at Kaizer Chiefs for the better part of 10 years, transitioning out of his playing into these coaching roles. He knows the team, he knows the culture, he understands the backroom staff. He's not going to get lost at Mokoena, right? He's a guy that knows those things. He also understands the development side of it, having been the coach of the DDC, done well on that side, and ushered in a lot of young players that came into the team under his tutelage, if I can put it like that. So there's all these things. Also, as a player, he understands the pressures, he understands the fans, he knows what's expected from him as a person who was a player at Kaizer Chiefs, right? So we can sit back and we can safely say that, okay, fine, he understands everything. But the biggest con is that. The biggest con is that Arthur Zwane, at this point, Coach Arthur Zwane, is part of the furniture at Kaizer Chiefs. Coach Arthur Zwane has been in the system for so long that I don't know if he is the guy who could change the system. And this is besides the experience problems that we've spoken about before, where maybe it was the wrong idea to have him get his head coaching, his taste of head coaching at Kaizer Chiefs. And maybe since then he should have done like a Rulani and gone out on loan to go and coach somewhere else where there's less pressure, where he can develop philosophies and do all of that stuff. Maybe NFT, but that's besides the point. The point that I'm making here is that he's part of the furniture, he's inside the club. He's one of the people that, there's a reason why the club has been making the moves they've been making of late. And one of the reasons is that a lot of the people inside the structure are yes men, unfortunately. Are people that can be controlled, people that won't rock the boat, people that will speak about their brand and their identity and will hold on to all of those old things that once made Kaizer Chiefs great. I don't know if Arthur Zwane is the type of coach, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I don't know that he's the type of person who at Kaizer Chiefs can be somebody who fights management when something's wrong. Can be somebody who's not going to take orders, just orders. Can be somebody who can look at those orders and see what's good and what's bad and act as his own coach. I don't know. I don't know if you have that type of history with Dr. Kaizer, with Bobby, with Kaizer Jr. having played with him, with all of these people. I don't know if Arthur Zwane is able to not be family. I think the problems at Kaizer Chiefs have moved far beyond being family now. Can't be bringing in people that are familiar, people that know the club, people that have been there, yeah, former this, former that. We need objective eyes. We need somebody that's going to come in and see it for what it is, not for what it was, not for, you know, these people have been so incredible and gracious and good to me. These people have been this. We need somebody who can do that. I don't know if Zwane is the one. We already see with Kevin Johnson, right? Everybody was saying Kevin Johnson should come in. About Junior Khanye was speaking about Kevin Johnson. Everybody was speaking about those things, right? Kevin Johnson stepped in and he looks overwhelmed. He looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't look like an experienced coach. All of this is overwhelming, and all you hear from them is what? No, guys, the cloth, the brand, this is Kaizer Chiefs, the people in the back are amazing, we've got to live up. It's all great words. And that scares me because those are the people that are meant to be making the tough decisions on the ground. I think this also highlights one of the problems we have at Kaizer Chiefs in general. Management, coaching, players, fans. Guys, the olden days are gone. You can't keep going backwards. Backwards to Middendorp, backwards to Baxter, backwards to Zwane now. You can't keep doing that. And unfortunately, these problems are bigger, are much bigger than what a coach is going to do. But at the very least, if you have a coach in there that doesn't have ties to the club, that has success of their own, that has experience of their own of winning, at least they can step into the role and I can trust that they would want to do better for themselves. But if we keep going back and we keep looking back and, oh, Kune must come back, and this one must come back, and let's bring back Uata, and he's better than this one, and he's not better than this one, and he's slightly, we can't keep doing that. And this is the problem. It's a problem even up top. You can't keep the same structures and go back to Kaizer Jr., who's been there apparently, and go back to Bobby, who's been there, and do all of these things and not improve the structures, expand the structures, bring in people that can work. This thing of bringing in internal people is holding us back, and it's not just at coaching. It's not just at coaching. Other clubs are run by families, sure. But they know, let's bring in people that are objective, that know better. At the very least, hide our people behind those guys so they can learn. But you know what they did? They took Uata, they put him in the back, and they said, Yazin, just wait it out. I joked when Uata was removed that they're just going to keep him in the back for a couple of years, then we'll see him come back. Even these stories about fans wanting him back, I don't know how true they are. But we can't keep going back. Just think about it. What is Atta's role right now? Coach Atta, what is his role right now? If I was to ask you what his title is at Kaizer Chiefs right now, as of this moment, what is he? Is he head of development? Is he head coach of DDC? Is he head administrator of DDC? What is he? And the secondary problem that I have with this is, again, it's the easy choice. It's the easy choice. And Chiefs has been making easy choices the whole time. Let's bring in Molefintseki to be our technical director. Last time we saw him was Bafana. He's been out of a job as far as I know. I don't know if he went back to development structures, but he's an easy hire to make. He's not going to rock the boat. He's not going to ask us for too much. Let's bring in Kevin Johnson. Wasn't the most successful PSL coach during his time. He was a good coach. I'm not going to take it away from him. But then he comes in after the Ahly stint. He was coaching in the first division. Do you know what's easy? Let's go give him a job so that he can come in and be grateful when he gets here. What of Zwane? Another easy job. Hey man, Atta, you were a former player, you were in the development structures, you're sitting right there. Let's bring you back in. Guti istulo siyashisa. Guti, whatever's happening, we're just going to bring him in and let him sink or swim, unfortunately. What will we gain from doing this? What will we gain? These are the type of moves that you make after a successful stint. You had your coaches. They won all of the things. You want to do right. You want to do it organically. You want to bring in those guys. You don't bring in Zwane again now. Can you imagine what would happen if Zwane lost? Now coming back. What type of fires would he be under? So Chiefs fans, nani ngathi niyabhayiza now. Lelona kare, you're losing the plot here. We're meant to be asking our club to do more. Not these barest of minimums. We were meant to be asking them to go out and do their research. We want a proper sporting director. We want a proper head of development. We want proper people within the structure as well, that have experienced, that have done this, that have built, that have won. We can't keep holding on, guys. Repecha. Think about the planning of the last 3 coaches that have come into Kaizer Chiefs. The last 3 coaches. Kevin Johnson was meant to be head of technical and development, which I am for. I think he's much better in the back. And I think that's starting to build a team. What do when the going gets tough? You take him to head coach. Zwane was assistant, and imtembanga CAF Champions League final. It's hot. Instead of going to do the work, to go find people that can work in this new structure, revamping everything, you go and you pick up Zwane. Put him in. That's easy. We've already spoken about Motaung. Was meant to come in as a technical director, was meant to be technical, head of whatever, was sitting up in the stands iPad. Things got tough, you brought him down to the coach's chair. I think it would be unfair for Zwane. But again, I think the grander point I'm making here is that we are too focused on nostalgia, old things. We used to do this. We used to love this. He used to be a player. We used to run like this. We used to do this. And this would just be a cop-out. And I feel like it's just a fear, guys. It's just a fear. It's just a fear of the unknown and going to go do the work. I don't buy this thing of, yeah, somebody couldn't bring in their staff. They wanted to bring in their staff. They wanted to do all these things. How a lot of our staff comes from that. Where does Dylan Shepherd come from? Hunt. Rainer Dinkelacke, who is right now the goalkeeper advisor or whatever at Kaizer Chiefs. Where does he come from? Middendorp. So why stop Nebi from bringing his people? Why stop other coaches from bringing his people? He's number 1 right now, Nebi. Ngali. Number 1. As far apart. No one expected it. Yet we are still grappling with these type of things. Hi guys. Let's get right as fans. Let's sit down as fans and get it right. And get what we want right.